Hey everybody, so there's an Arctic cold front coming down here to Texas, and it's supposed to get pretty darn cold. And with that, I need to make sure that I protect our investment. Chickens are an investment, as I've talked about before. I do this to get conversions, which are the eggs from it. And not only that, we do love having chickens, look how cute they are, but they still need to be protected. If it gets below freezing for too long and the wind's cutting through their fence here, it can kill the chickens. They get too cold and they can pass away. Now, chickens are very hardy, so they do retain a lot of heat. Usually it has to be pretty cold, but I also don't want to gamble with it. And that's very similar to your LinkedIn ad campaigns. You need to make sure you're protecting your investment. It starts with your matched audiences and your conversion tracking. You want to make sure you have correct attribution set up and your matched audiences are ready, especially for your website visits. They are not retroactive. Only once you have your pixel on your website and you have the audience built will it start collecting data. So that's step one to making sure you're protecting your investment. Next, you want to make sure that you have the right setup when you're building your campaigns. One of the biggest ways people waste money is they don't set up their campaigns correctly. So make sure that when you open up your campaign manager and you're about to run a campaign, you check that these are done. First and foremost, your geography. LinkedIn will default to recent or permanent, and you want to make sure it's set to permanent. You don't want IPs that recently visited your geo. You want to make sure that you have IPs that are in the geography you want to target. Next, check your audience. If you're seeing millions of people, you probably didn't set something up right. Check your filters for and or. This is a really important part because you want to make sure that you're targeting the right people, and you could easily waste budget if you're trying to target people that are outside of your target audience. And will mean that you're filtering each professional demographic and that everyone meets each criteria. If you put or, you're saying it could be one or the other. So make sure you're using and or correctly so that you're dialed in. Next, you want to make sure that you turn audience expansion off. Audience expansion is like LinkedIn's lookalike audiences. However, you're already putting in the targeting criteria you want. You're not looking for people like that, especially with no transparency over it. You want to make sure that you're dialed in as possible. So make sure to turn off audience expansion. You'll also want to check your audience network. LinkedIn by default will set audience network on. Audience Network is LinkedIn's programmatic partnership that can show your ads on other channels. You don't want that because you want the best placement possible. Now, I do believe in using Audience Network, and I believe there's a time and place, a segmented way, a strategic way to use it to get more results. However, you need to use it correctly, and if you're not sure how, don't use it at all. Finally, check your bidding strategy. LinkedIn defaults to maximum delivery. I like to start with maximum delivery because I think that it helps the algorithm automatically optimize for your target audience and sets LinkedIn benchmarks for you. If you're not sure, if you don't have the time to constantly monitor it to keep your cost per click in check, go ahead and switch it to manual bidding. Set it at the top bid that you're willing to pay and then let it run. So just like my chickens, you want to make sure your investment in LinkedIn ads is protected. As you can see here, we've set up the tarps so that the wind coming in is blocked and that freezing cold air won't be hitting our chickens. Now, it's not perfect. The main thing that we want to do here is we want to block the wind, but it should give the chickens enough reprieve that they can be warm inside. If they get really cold, they can go inside the coop, but ultimately it should make it fine for them to weather out the storm. So make sure your LinkedIn ads are protected and protect your investment in your chickens.